Welcome back. So, tonight we're going to be talking about a couple different topics, including prestige banners, how to get them, how to use them, troop formations, more into detail. We're going to do a better job this time. My last video kind of sucks, just like with everything I do in life. We're going to talk about some dragon setups, and then we're also going to talk about research, because today is the research trial. So we're going to look at the different research options, how to best use your resources, what are good ways of getting research done efficiently, quickly, to help you get that extra level in Merlin's trials, to get that extra food, get the extra speed ups, and go make yourself some more troops, because troops are good? Question mark. All right. Well, right now we're going to be talking about prestige banners. So over here we have the Spire. As you can see on my screen, I don't have the Spire. I completely realized I didn't update this game on this device, so I decided to stop my stream, download the update, and redo everything, and I couldn't even open up the Play Store, so just imagine that there's a big blue, purple hole of despair and stuff and whatever you want to call it right there, and you can go in there, go through the different levels. It'll take your stats. You'll be able to buy some different boosts. In a different video, I'll actually get this update and I'll walk you through how to do it and walk you through what different boosts that I've experimented with and what's worked for me and how to get that extra level, extra floor going. And then you go gather some resources. Doesn't take away from your troop count. And then what to spend your rewards on. Now, spending your rewards from the Spire really depends on your account, what your needs are, and what you're spending or not spending money on. And for me personally, right now, what I'm using it for is prestige banners. And prestige banners is one of the topics that I want to cover tonight. So you could go ahead and you could get 100 prestige banners every 12 hours. So go in there every 12 hours. Once it resets, get some more prestige banners. Prestige banners give you small stat bonuses, but if you're getting them for free, it'll give you a good boost, because some of the things that we'll be talking about for their stats are things that you normally won't be getting in a large quantity from gemstones or from your gear. So it's a good boost to your stats that are different from, say, your dragon or the other things I just talked about. So you'll ask, okay, well, where can I get other forms of prestige banners? So, of course, the easiest way to get anything in this game is through a pack. So this very first pack, Prestige Banner Pack, you get 10 Prestige Banner chests, and you'll probably get around 4,500 to 5,000, maybe 6,000 if you're lucky, Prestige Banners per chest. So if you want to do some upgrades really quickly for $100, that's the way to do it, if you want to spend the money for it. Now, you've got all these prestige banners, and you're like, okay, well, where do I start? So most of you are going to go up, and what I've seen on some accounts that I've logged into is people start here at the stronghold, and they put every single banner into the stronghold. They don't put a single banner in anywhere else. They just waste it all the way onto their stronghold. Let me tell you, don't be that guy. Don't be that girl. Just please save yourself. If it's too late, I'm sorry, but I guess now is better than never. So let me talk to you first about the two best places to spend banners, but this does not necessarily mean these are the only places you want to spend your banners. Now, I'm over here hovering over the wall. If you click on the wall, you'll see infantry damage received. This isn't a stat that you're getting from your gear. You might get it in some small quantities if you have a different type of gear, but if you looked at my equipment video, the gear that I'm instructing you to get doesn't have a stat like this. And looking at my prestige level of 28, 130%, you're getting nowhere near that for the banners. So this is a great stat. What it means pretty much is infantry damage is going to be when your infantry go up to go fight the enemy, they're in the front lines, they'll be taking less damage than they normally would from the bowmen, from the other infantry, from the other cavalry. So this is going to keep them alive longer. It pretty much is similar to defense and health, but it's actually a percentage of that damage that they normally would take, just subtracted entirely off of it. So it's a really strong stat, and keeping your infantry alive will keep everyone else alive. So take care of those little guys. They don't get paid enough. No one loves them. Mama left them out for the army, so take care of them. They mean a lot to me. Then we go over here to the Watchtower. Now you'll see here we've got bowman damage. These are your killers. These are the guys that are doing all the damage for you. If you help them, they'll help you. So just like with infantry damage received, this is bowman damage. So as you can see, I had 130% infantry damage received as a subtraction, and this is an addition of 115%. So if I pretty much had my bowmen going up against my infantry, in theory, my infantry would survive because they have an extra 15% damage reduction from what the bowmen are doing to them. However, this game's really fucking complicated. There's so many more layers to it. You've got the individual stats of the infantry versus the individual stats of the attack of the bowmen. So it gets really complicated. Honestly, anything I just said might not even be the case. But moral of the story, this right here, this Watchtower, this is a great way to spend your prestige banners. If you get that up, you're going to be helping your troops in the long run. And then we go over, we've got my city might be a little different than yours. I only have 3 of my troop buildings here, just the way I did it, the way I like it. Don't judge me. You probably already are. So go in here, we have our range, we have our stables, and we have our infantry. Pretty much the only troops that really matter to me. So these guys are good, more so with the barracks and the stables than the range, because with these buildings, you're getting infantry health, infantry attack, and infantry defense. Now, with infantry and cavalry, like with my discussion about gemstones, your health and your defense are more important to this specific troop type, because your infantry health and defense, like with your cavalry, they're up at the front. They're not doing the damage. That's the bowman's job. These guys are here to protect your bowmen so that they can kill the enemy. And now, what you're gaining from doing barracks and stables levels in prestige is you're gaining the health and defense bonuses and the same percentages that you're going to be getting if you're upgrading just your range. And with the range, really the only thing that matters to you is the attack stat. So with this, you're getting double the benefit for the same cost. Same with the stables. So, these are two good prestige options. Now, like with everything I'm talking about here, there's going to be a lot of good options, a couple bad options, but moral of the story is don't go heavy with those first 2 items. Don't go heavy on the wall. Don't go heavy on the Watchtower. Don't go heavy on the stronghold. Evenly upgrade. Because if you're looking at this, I only have 1,300 banners. This single upgrade is 1,200. If I'm pouring every single thing into my stables, I get no benefit anywhere else. So, moral of the story, be wise, spend even, upgrade what counts, kind of ignore what doesn't really count, but just because it doesn't quote-unquote count doesn't mean it doesn't help you. So, with that, let's move on. The university, over here, you'll see its troop attack. Another amazing stat. This will go down the line, so it'll be at 28% will be added to your infantry, your cavalry, and your bowmen. So, and your siege as well. Completely forgot about them. on purpose. So troop attack is great. When you go into your more info, you'll see your individual stats. What that is telling you is, this is telling you the individual stats of your, like, say, bowman attack. And it will have all of your troop attack stats from all across the board. Everything that helps troop attack will be added into that number. Then when you see a war report, it breaks everything down. So troop attack will be a different number from your bowman attack. So it'll look different than your more info page, but prestige will go into that troop attack. It will go into that bowman attack in the end game. Going over here to the dragon lair, we've got troop defense, very similar to troop attack. Same thing, this is keeping your troops alive. This is great for your infantry, great for your cavalry. So don't want to ignore that at all. Now over to the back to the stronghold, just going down the line here, you'll see we have troop health, attack, and defense. 3 amazing stats. Terrible thing about it, why mine is so low of a level compared to everything else. Look at the cost and look at the percentage gain. You're not even gaining a full percentage of troop health, attack, and defense. Yes, it's broken down to 3, so yeah, it's around like 2.8% of a total stat bonus. But for 1,200 banners, going back over here, this Dragon Lair's 200 banners cheaper, and I'm gaining 2% of a bonus. So, you know, apples to apples, I'd rather put the banners into the cheaper Dragon Lair, get more of a focused bonus, and get a higher bonus for that focus. With that being said, again, don't neglect your stronghold. But it's okay if it lags behind a couple levels. Coming over here to the trap factory, we have army damage. Now, I talked about this in an earlier video. Army damage is an amazing stat. This is going to be about the overall damage that your army is doing on both offense and defense to your opponent. So at the end of the day, when all the numbers are being finalized, you're adding an additional damage percentage to what is being done to them. So basically, you're killing more troops at the end of the day. Great stat. Another one. I just have a kind of low level building here. It's only level 26, so I can't do it any higher. It's a slow working progress. I'm at 31, but there's a lot of buildings, a lot of things that need to be done. Need to work on everything. Still don't even have 30 siege. Finally brought it up to 29 the other day, but I got hurt pretty badly in KVK the other day. Thankfully, our gracious queen, I should say, gave me the healing title, so it's gonna help, but it only helps if you have food. And going over here to the storehouse, very similar stat as the trap factory, army damage received, except this is the opposite. This is more of a defensive stat. However, it plays again in both into your offense and your defense. So this is going to make sure that you're taking less damage at the end of the day. So whereas with the trap factory we're trying to kill more troops, this is trying to preserve more troops, keep them alive, keep them from being injured, keep them from filling up your hospitals. So great stat. You need to have it. Don't neglect it. Now we're going to talk about the next 3 buildings are going to be the ones that you want to ignore. It's the forge, the siege, and the trading post. Not that you want to ignore it, but it doesn't really serve a good purpose. So here we have infantry damage. Now this is the offensive stat for infantry. Again, we talked about this. Infantry, they don't do a lot of damage. Coming over here, we can look at our infantry. If I look at the stats of my infantry, you can see health and defense are really high and attack is really low. They're not meant to kill people. They're meant to stay alive. So why are you trying to help them kill people? It's just counterintuitive because it's not their job. That's why this is really low at level 20, really low cost and such a high reward, because no matter what you're doing to this, it doesn't make a difference. It's not a productive stat. Over here at Siege, if you want to know why I say ignore siege, ask yourself this. Why do the developers ignore siege? If you look at any valor, any chivalry gemstone, name one besides the conquest that actually gives any stat bonuses to siege. Simple answer is none. No one cares. It's not their job. Their job is to kill traps. They'll sit in the back of your march for the most part, and they'll just kill traps. So why does it really matter what they can do? With all of our stat bonuses at this point, like, I'll go to my more info page and I'll show you, like, you know, my siege, they're not doing too bad for themselves. 450%. What do they gain out of having higher stats from prestige? The simple answer is they don't. You don't have those stat bonuses on your traps, so it doesn't really matter. If you're sending some siege, they're going to get the job done. So it's not important. It's not something you want to go wasting all of your prestige banners if you don't have a lot on. And then we go into the trading post. So if you look at war reports, you'll notice if you send a successful march and you're beating the enemy, more often than not, you're not going to lose a single bowman. So why even bother like trying to put prestige banners into something that really doesn't matter? Your bowmen aren't going to die. If you set up your troop formations right, I'll show you a better demonstration late in a couple minutes, but if you set it up right, they're going to be fine. So that's why, again, it's really low cost, because just like infantry damage, bowmen aren't meant to be taking damage. If you look at the individual stats of a bowman, their health and defense aren't that high. Looking here, it's a 5 and 5 compared to a 9. Whereas with infantry, we were looking at like 14 and 16. So it's just such a huge difference. If you're adding like 85% onto 5, that means nothing compared to 85% onto 50, or 15, rather. So with that, again, kind of ignore it. But now we're going to go back into the last 3 buildings, and these are good buildings. Cavalry damage. Cavalry, they're not as good damage dealers as bowmen are, but then again, they're still good. They still do damage, do more damage than an infantry, do less damage than a bowman, but they're still doing damage. So if you're helping them, you're helping yourself. So you can kill the enemy quicker. Cavalry damage, again, offensive stat. Works both on offense and defense. Wishing well, cavalry damage received. Again, like I said, if you're going to have like a close battle, cavalry is your second line of defense. They're meant to take some damage. So cavalry damage received is a helpful stat if you're going up against a tough enemy. Again, low level building, so I can't bring this up any higher. It's actually pretty cheap. It's a cheap building compared to, say, the wall or Watchtower. So it's a good building to put some prestige banners into because it's fairly cheap and it will give you a high benefit. You might not see that benefit all the time if you're, say, having a lot of blowout victories, but if you're having some close calls, it makes the difference. Now we go into the Hall of War. This is going to be your troop health. Just like with the troop attack and troop defense, it's a high cost building. Level 26 is 1696. Then again, it's giving you a big benefit, 2 whole percent stat increase on your troop health. So, again, same story here. That's going to be it for prestige banners, pretty much. And other ways you could get it, you could get prestige banners for free from Portal. So make sure you do that with your alliance. I think damage ranking plays a factor into that. There might be some other ways. Maybe you get it from Firelands. I'm not entirely sure. We could go take a look. Fossil rewards, yeah, you get some from Firelands. If they ever bring back Conquest, which I truly hope they don't, you do get some there, I believe. And that is pretty much it. Also, daily deals the other day gave a ton of prestige banners. So if you're going to be a lower end spender, that's a pretty good way to spend $1 or $2. or 35. It's never just a buck or two. Well, that's going to conclude this for prestige banners. I hope everyone enjoyed this. Hope everyone learned something. If you still have any questions, if you have a particular situation where you want some help, feel free to ask me. Message me in game, Twitch here, or on YouTube when this is posted later tonight. Thank you.